It's Christmas, so you expect it to be a rather festive affair on the front pages this morning. So let's start with a look at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. Traditionally, right, 25 years of robust journalism. And of course, you can see that Santa's cap or hat on the Daily Trust marking the Christmas celebration. So let's take a look at the top story, shall we? Crack at Nigeria Governors Forum Secretariat over alleged fraud. Spokesperson demands probe. So I mean, even at the at such, you know, a high level, there is still questions about mismanagement, and you can wonder how this is going to go down. And there's more on that story on page 12. TGI denies link to Emefiele as Titan defends acquisition of Union Bank. All of this from the blockbuster interview given by the special investigator into the Central Bank of Nigeria, who has indicted quite a good number of high-profile personalities. One of them, of course, being the embattled former governor of the Central Bank, governor of the Central Bank, Emefiele, Godwin Emefiele. 16 killed in fresh Plateau attack, and now we're learning more that there's been other skirmishes that has been recorded on Monday night. Page 8 has the latest on the attack in Bokos. Emefiele sues investigator, denies opening 593 foreign accounts. Report indicting me satanic and defamatory. I can understand defamation, but satanic? I don't know. Ex-CBN governor says Buhari approved Naira redesign, demands thorough, transparent investigation. More on this blockbuster story on page 4. In the picture there, Kano agog as Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf returns. You can see the mammoth crowd welcoming back the governor, and in a matter of weeks, we will definitely hear from the Supreme Court that has reserved judgment in the Kano Guba litigation. Newspaper proprietors to adjust cover prices January 2nd. And of course, our chairman is still heading that association, the NPAN. We do hope that the newspapers don't cost. Anyway, newspaper cost doesn't really change, does it? But the price of the advertorials and things like that do change over time. Bandits free 18 victims abducted from Dede Mbappe communities in the FCT. Well, that's good news. We actually reported this 2 weeks ago, and it's nice to see that those people have regained their freedom. More on that on page 8. Kano governor flags off training of 2,500 security personnel. And finally, at Christmas, expect prosperity soon, Tinubu tells Nigerians. National Assembly leaders, governors preach peace and sacrifice. Let's unite Nigeria for greater good, according to Atiku. Those are some of the felicitation messages coming from some public figures.
187 billion naira fraud. The EFCC arrests humanitarian ministries contractor, probes 4 Buhari ministers. Now, this is the major story on the Punch newspaper this morning. The writer is saying ex-Humanitarian Affairs Minister Umar Farouk, ex-DGs face arrest over 37 billion naira money laundering allegation. Anti-graft agency grills contractor over funds transfer and probes 3 other Buhari's minister over 150 billion naira. It's a massive, huge amount there. At the top of the page, we have Emefiele rejects investigators' reports, faces fresh allegations. You'll find that on page 2 and 47. And PAN increases newspaper cover price on January 2nd. I will assess Tinubu's government after 1 year. That's according to Shoyinka. Well, that's good. I mean, we have to give people a bit yesterday. Of time.
I saw him and I wondered if it was Photoshop, but yes, it was Wole Shoyinka and President Tinubu in Lagos. So it's good to see.
All right. So below we have a pictorial of Apostolic Faith Church Choir during the 2023 Christmas concert at Anthony Village in Lagos on Sunday. And below that, we have Tinubu urges patience. Atiku, governors preach love. Trigger Happy Cup to face sanctions. Ogun CP visits shot actor. NDLEA arrests grandma-son for drug trafficking and seizes 7.5 million tramadol. Now, these are some of the stories on the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, let's take a look at the next newspaper now. The Daily Sun is up next. Emefiele's many scenes, according to the Daily Sun. 17.369 trillion naira ways and means unaccounted for. 205,000 pounds blown on changing colors of new notes. 769 billion naira illegal currency in circulation. 9.1 billion spent on e-naira without presidential approval. Well, in response, Emefiele says allegations against me false, misleading. Well, let's just say that at the end of the day, Nigerians will be disappointed regardless of what the allegations are, because already this development has had a very negative impact on the lives of Nigerians. And the pictorials there, you can see passengers at Jabi Motor Park here in Abuja traveling to celebrate Christmas. Is this overloading or not, Sumaya? You have...
Oh my God, it's something to talk about later, honestly.
Yeah. And also just beside that picture, you can see the unmistakable images of the Vice President, Imo State Governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, and the National Chairman of the APC. They are with Igwe Robert Eze Okoli VI, shortly after conferment of chieftaincy title on Shetima Ganduje during the 32nd Ofala Festival in Anambra. In other news, Christmas, new dawn possible with joint efforts, according to President Tinubu. Sorrow tears in Plateau, Jigawa. Gunmen kill 16 in Plateau community, 11 die in Jigawa auto crash, and Ukpo Auto Eze's community honors Tinubu, Shetima Ganduje, among others. Ex-SGF denies looting $6.3 million from CBN vault. Listen, this investigator was just spilling the beans, Sumaya, and he's really shaking the table.
The table is broken at this point, I would say.
All right, that's it on the Daily Sun for today.
All right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. It says, unusual Yuletide as cash crunch, unaffordable prices, mass celebration. You find that on page 6. NDLEA seizes 7.5 million tramadol pills, 95,400 codeine bottles. The federal government condemns attack on Borno Yobe electricity infrastructure. That's another hurdle, for the two governors to deal with. We have save people from trouble, suffering. The Badejo admonishes political leaders. Okpadokun tasked Tinubu to restore constitutional governance. No compromise on $800 million conditional cash transfer, says the NCPA boss. Emefiele breaks silence on looted funds and kept in foreign banks. Tinubu seeks support, promises more intervention to ease the hardship. It's a lot. And there's a pictorial of the Kano people celebrating the return of the governor from Abuja. Now, these are some of the stories on The Guardian this morning.
Okay, just before we get into the newspaper analysis, let's get another sense of how things are shaping up regarding the Christmas, shall we? We now head over to Owerri, the Imo State capital, where Trust TV's Ajibade Praise is standing by. Ajibade, good morning, Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for joining us. How are things shaping up today?
Well, good morning, Merry Christmas. Well, things are taking effect as planned. Lots of residents in Owerri, you will agree with me that Imo State and Owerri, the capital, is predominantly Christians, and they are all tipping out in mass today to celebrate. It's all started this morning with various church services here and there of different denomination, from the Catholic, the Pentecostal, and both of you. It was church service early this morning, and I believe it's going to transcend from that also to visiting different parks, amusement parks for children, And what if you parents will get visiting families and friends and what you. We hope to be updating you on that. And from here, I will be visiting some of the amusement parks to see the turnouts. Are people able to actually come out vis-a-vis the economy? A lot of people are cutting down on us. They are cutting down on so many things. But we will still have to visit those places, those amusement park, and what be to see the turnout and how people are celebrating. I hope to be turning up that in a moment.
Ajibade, speaking of, cutting of cost that you mentioned, there have been a lot of concern about, the cash crunch and also the increase in food items in markets. So how is the Imo people, helping? I mean, how are they trying to move past this thing? Is any of this difficulty affecting the celebration there?
I will tell you, yes, absolutely, yes, it is affecting the celebration here. A lot of people have to, they have to cut down. In fact, some persons even have to, cut down. The idea of, abandon the idea of traveling to their various villages where they will celebrate. Normally, a time like this, a lot of people do visit homes, visit their villages, their loved ones, go celebrate with them. But I tell you, a lot of them did not travel. Even the federal government policy of cutting down cost of transportation by 50% came, some of them even complained that it came late. This ought to have come earlier because most of them have even, let go of their areas traveling. Coming down to food items, I tell you, not many homes were able to buy those food items they would have used to celebrate a day like this. They are just trying to manage, with what they have. It may not be enough, but then they just have to celebrate with what they have.
Okay. All right, Ajibade, I'm sure you're not wearing your Christmas clothes yet, so we'll let you get back to that, and then we'll circle back to you later during the course of the day to catch up with how the celebrations are shaping up. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and Merry Christmas once again.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Okay. Ajibade Praise there, giving us some sort of update on Imo State, and it's safe to say that people are trying their best to, make the most of the moment and experience some level of positivity, because the year has been difficult, to say the least,
Indeed,
economically speaking, and all the things that has happened over the past couple of months. But now, time for us to get back to the front pages and assess and analyze some of the stories that stand out today from the front pages. Joining us this morning is Mr. Salami Salmon, a veteran journalist and CEO, Justice Pen Alliance. Good morning to you, sir. Merry Christmas, and thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Very good morning to
compliments
you,
of the
brother,
season.
and compliments of the season.
Right.
And if I may quickly say this,
right.
Trust TV is the channel to be today.
Okay, appreciate that very kind comment of yours.
Indeed.
Really, thank you very much for that. Okay, let's get to the headlines, shall we? And start with this big one. The investigator that was appointed by President Tinubu to look into the CBN is coming out with some bombshell revelations. 593 accounts linked to the embattled former CBN governor. He has indicted a couple of people that served in the past administration. What is your reaction to everything that we've heard over the past couple of days from this special investigator?
Once again, thank you very much. What will be my reaction? My reaction is what every Nigerian feel about the sad development. It is sad that public office holders see public office not as a trust that should not be betrayed, but as an avenue for personal aggrandizement. Well, I do not want to be judgmental because it's still unfolding. It is an allegation, and he told us that he would do this, he would do that he didn't open 539 accounts,
and 93.
but he failed to tell us the number
Right.
he opened,
Right.
if at all he did open any account. Be it as it may, let us wait. And in the fullness of time, Nigerians will see how they have dealt with our common purse.
Does this kind of revelation surprise you, knowing what we know about how pervasive corruption has been in government?
I'm numb. You see, as a journalist of over 35 years, I do not want to tell you that we are used to seeing this. But the problem is lack of consequence. It appears as if you can do anything. Yes, for 3-4 days, we purveyors of news will carry it. And life goes on. I think it's high time we take over governance, because power sovereignty belongs to the people. We cannot allow this to continue with impunity.
We saw how this situation happened with Desani, Alison Madike, with a lot of allegations coming out. Nigerians are of the opinion that things like this would actually just come and pass, just like, other situations are happening. So do you see that happening, or do you see this at least changing? Should Nigeria be hopeful in saying that at the end of the tunnel, this person would pay for what he did, and all the money that, was siphoned allegedly would come back to the nation's treasury?
I will express cautious optimism over this, because we've heard this times and times over, and I want to believe that they are not entertaining us again. This is a serious matter. There should be consequence. Public money belongs to the public. Public office is public trust. It must not, or it should not be betrayed or abused. But then experience over the years have shown that it is just another news for people to hear. What comes out of it? We pray that this will not, as usual, be swept under the carpet.
Is it not fair to say that, going by what Emefiele has been going through since July, that there is some level of accountability and that he is being held accountable, because official charges have been, labeled against him, and he's going through the court process? Isn't that of some sort of consequence?
I'm being careful, but if I have to come clean, I must say that for once we have a president who, to a very large extent, knows the road and knows what to do, and is doing it. Whether you like it or not, whether we like it or not, there's somebody in charge now. There is someone in charge. It is visible to the blind, audible to the deaf, and perhaps tangible to the paralytic, that there's somebody in charge now. And I want to believe that he will not allow this to go unchallenged.
Okay,
but then let us be circumspect, and they should allow the rule of law.
Okay, and in talking about circumspect, right, this is where the argument comes in, because one of the quote-unquote cleanest people we've had in the presidency was supposed to be the past president, President Muhammadu Buhari, known for his integrity or his incorruptible, personality, right? And this allegedly happened under his leadership. Why should Nigerians believe that President Tinubu is going to be different?
Well,
I mean, it's safe to say that Buhari has a much cleaner, record, quote unquote.
Unarguably, unarguably, you could accuse Baba Buhari of anything, but not personal aggrandizement. Baba Buhari as a person is a man imbued with integrity. I happen to start a project on PMB Integrity Lecture Series. It's because of my conviction that here came a man adjoined by many as a person imbued with integrity. But I find it extremely difficult to push this far now. Why did I say so? I do not know how to defend Baba again. Because if you say that a vehicle had accident, and the driver is not to be blamed by the conductor, what do you make of that? All this, happened under Baba Buhari. But I still want to give him the benefit of the doubt because it's alleged. And no matter how strong an allegation is, it still remains what it is until it is proven
All right,
in a court of law.
Let's take a look. Let's hear your opinion on, Emefiele coming out after he has, passed bail to defend himself and say all these things are allegation. Is there? Well, we all know that in every room.
Satanic is the word he used on the Daily Trust newspaper.
You say that someone is. It's like witch hunting. Someone is just coming out with all the fabrication. So, what is your thoughts on that?
My position is simple. Suspicion, no matter how strong it is, remains what it is. It is still an allegation. But I would love to see Emefiele have his day in court. And I'll be glad if he's able to prove this. And if at the end of the day it comes clean, the government knows what to do. But then, I am not too sure that Emefiele did not help himself.
Okay. I guess you're making another allegation there. But switching gears now, let's talk about some insecurity-related matters in Jos. Over the weekend, Saturday night, 16 people were killed in a village in Bokos, and we also understand from our reporter Adon Musa speaking to us earlier that there was another attack again on Monday night. What do you make of the insecurity, especially in some of these not so uncommon but well-known areas that have become flashpoints for ethno-religious tensions?
Honestly, to say that I'm sad is an understatement. Sad in the sense that as a media consultant, I happen to be very, very close to some of the service chiefs, especially General Chris Musa. This is a man who is committed to seeing that we sleep with our eyes closed. And today is his birthday. Do we see this as a birthday gift? This is not what he would have wanted. You see, it's unfortunate that we are where we are today in this country. Days were, or years were, or times were when Jos used to be the home of peace and tourism. It's unfortunate that Jos, of all places, is now what it is today. My prayer is this: may Almighty Allah change things for better in this country. Amen. We are having this insurgency, banditry, and what have you, too many.
I mean, we're facing the banditry already, but then what do you think is the cause of this? Because I think last year, for the past even 3 to 4 years, there's been a bit of, calm in Plateau. But then these days, a lot of things are happening. What happens to be the cause of this? Why are we back here again, where this one is attacking this one and burning houses and people are losing their lives, even without the bandits, attacking us?
I'm not surprised you are asking this question. You look good. Times are hard, really, really hard. Nigerians are going through a very harrowing experience. There's hardship in the land. But the president has told us that he feels our pains.
But should the hardship justify you hurting?
I'm not justifying it. I am not, in no way, justifying criminality. I will not. But then I must confess to you that of all democracies, the first democracy is the democracy of the belly. People are going through a very, very hard time, and they have choices. Those who have chosen not to engage in criminal activity, they have just chosen not to, because that is not the way to go. And I'm not saying that people should continue in that way. But what I'm saying is this: there is a need for the government to please come to the head of the people and make things better. Let Nigerians give a sigh of relief. The government should be sensitive.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about yet another corruption-related issue. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, if we can take a look at that, the 187 billion naira fraud. EFCC arrests humanitarian ministries contractor, probes for Buhari's ministers, right? Ex-Humanitarian Affairs Minister Umar Farouk, ex-DGs face arrest over 37 billion money laundering allegation. Anti-graft agency grills contractor over funds transfer. Probes 3 other Buhari's minister over 150 billion naira. We've talked about this just moments ago, but this yet again signpost what to many was something going on under the nose of the past administration. Now the administration is pretty much being indicted for all these corrupt practices. 4 ministers already under the radar of the EFCC. Your quick thoughts on this one as we
honestly, I still maintain that Baba Buhari as a person, we must concede one thing to this man. He is not a corrupt person. That he presided over this list, so to speak, is just unfortunate. And I am saying this with all sense of responsibility, that whoever is involved in this graft should have his day in court. And I want this government to please, in the name of everything good, make sure that there is consequence. Consequence for anything and everything. And the era of impunity should be over. Too many people have dealt with this country in such a manner that Nigerians do not have hope in this country again. But there is the need for people to be patriotic. You don't demand patriotism, you earn it.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see how APC prosecutes APC, because usually what we see is political parties like to cover their tracks, but the body language from the Tinubu administration, I think, is to hold some of these individuals accountable and let them have their day in court.
To change a lot.
End it here for now. Veteran journalist Salami, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
It's always a pleasure being here.
Do appreciate your take and
it's
your
always a pleasure being here. This is the foremost television station, not only in the northern part of this country, but in Nigeria today. This is where competence comes in.
Right.
Fantastic management.
Thank you.
You do have it.
Thank you.
Please keep it up.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning.